Hey, Jameson here, and today we're going to be making a COVID-19, or coronavirus as it's commonly called, app map for the US, which shows different color shades for which states are the most infected. We can use existing packages such as this Angular SVG US map to get started with the map, and we can use this Rapid API COVID-19 coronavirus statistics freely available to get the stats for the US. So if I make this query test endpoint, we can see the test result came back as successful, and here are the numbers. So New York, dated of 2020-03-21, there are 11,710 cases and 60 deaths. So let's get started making this application. The main pieces we need are this map and this Rapid API. So I'm going to get started here with the code generating a new project. I'm going to go into my YouTube directory, and by the way, this isn't going to be a tutorial. If you want to learn how to code apps, you can learn more on my website, jamesonsaunders.com. But let's continue on. I'm going to run ionic start, and then we'll call this project Coronavirus USA. Probably make a blank application, just keep this nice and simple, and sure, we'll use capacitor to run this on an actual physical device. Alright, the project is all generated. Now I'm going to press File, open that up. Okay, here it is. Pop open the terminal once again. And let's install all the required components. So I noticed this map thing that I want to use, this Angular SVG US map. This doesn't quite have all the pieces we need. It has options to fill the color of all states, but not individual states, which we need to color them individually based on the spread of the virus. So what I'm going to do is I popped open the source code for this, and I'm just going to copy these into my own component. So let's go over here and generate a new component, ionic G component, and we'll call it US map. Okay, here it is, and let's go and paste over the code. So we got HTML. And by the way, this is under the MIT license, so that's why I can use this code. Copy this, put it over here, grab the CSS as well. Actually, looks like that is empty. So go back here, grab the TypeScript, paste it in here. And it looks like they have a US map service as well, so let's go ahead and generate that. Ionic G service, and then US map. And now we can auto import that from what we just made. And so we'll need to go and copy that file as well. Okay, here's the service. It has the coordinates for the map, so we're definitely going to want that. Okay, services, US map service. Paste that in there. And now we have the coordinates. Okay, let's fix the indentation of this file a little bit. Okay, and let's start the server. Ionic serve -b-c. And there we go, our app is running on localhost 8100. So now let's get started putting the actual map in there. So how do we use this? Like this, using this component tag. So let's go over here to the home page and replace that content with the map. And see if we can get that to just show up in the first place. Looks like we got an error. US map is not a known element. So our component is not registered with the module yet, I don't think. Let's go check that out. So it's common to have another module for the components, so I'll just generate that. Ionic G module, and let's call the module components. Hit enter, and there is our components module. So this one needs to declare the US map, so US map component. Save that, and then the home page needs to import that components module. Okay, let's see if we have any more luck with that. Okay, looks like it said failed to compile. We still have an error, cannot resolve US map component.css. That's right, because it is a SCSS file, not CSS. So this needs to change to SCSS. Let's see if that fixes it. Compiled successfully. See if we can load this page. Still have an error. US map is not a known element. Let's go back over here to the components module and add to our exports the US map component. Save that, try again, and there we go. So now our map is working. So this is the map from this package. but we need to customize it a little bit more to allow colorizing of different states in different ways. So I'm going to go back over here to the HTML and just look at how the coloring works. So it's setting this fill attribute to fill state color, and it's just the same color for every single state. So what I'm going to do instead is each one of these corresponds to a state, like this one is MA. So I'm just going to replace each of these with fill colors sub and then MA as a string. Basically, I want fill state colors to be a map with the colors for each of the different states. Okay, so that's all filled out, and now let's go over here and declare that fill state colors map. So instead of setting them all to be the same color, this is going to be an object, and it's an input, so we're going to pass this in when we are using the map. So let's go over to the home page where we're using this and then pass in some sort of object. So it's called fill state colors. Fill state colors is going to be equal to fill state colors. So now we need a variable here called fill state colors. We'll probably need access to that US map service. So we'll just iterate over every coordinate and then set the fill state colors for that ID to be EEE, which is a gray. And let's just see if that makes them all gray. There we go. So this is working. I want the text on the states to be a different color. So let's go and change that. That's just in the component.ts. The fill color is white right now. I'm going to set it to black. 000 is black. All right, so this is looking a lot better. Now let's get the actual data from the API so we can start colorizing these based on what percentage they are infected. And so to do this, we're going to use the HTTP client from Angular. So let's go and import that into the home page. Import that. We're also probably going to need in the module, we're going to need the HTTP client module. Import that. Now we need to inject it into the constructor. Okay, now we've got the HTTP client. And so basically, as soon as the app loads, we want to make the request to get the data. And when I was testing how to do this, I already wrote the code for this. It kind of takes a while to write. So here it is. It's function load data, which simply makes a request to this URL, which is described here when it says code snippet. This is the URL we're supposed to get to, and there are some headers you need to pass. And then we're also passing in the US as a parameter for country, so we pass in country US. All right, so all we got to do at this point is call this.loadData, and that's going to call this function, which should console log out the results. So let's go back over here, see if it logs us out our results. There they are. The very first one has the most nested data, so we'll just take a look at that one. Has all the stuff right in here. New York has 11,700 people, confirmed cases. Okay, so what I was thinking for coloring the states was we would grab the state with the highest confirmed count, which I think is actually New York, and we'll use that in the divisor for every other equation. Like we would take Wyoming's count and divide that by New York's count, and then that would give us the percentage red that they are. So let's make some variables up here for the max recovered, max confirmed, and max deaths, so that we can compute those after we get the results. So basically this for loop right here, the stat object refers to this thing right here. So stat.confirmed will tell us confirmed. So all we have to do when we're iterating over these is we say if stat.confirmed is greater than this.max confirmed, then we can update the max confirmed. So this.max confirmed equals stat.confirmed. Okay, and we just do that for the other ones as well. All right, there we go. And now at the end, let's just console log out the maxes so it can be sure that they are accurate. Okay, there we go. Let's check that out. All right, and there they are. The max confirmed is the highest in New York, as I thought it was. I had been hearing that on the news and things. Okay, so once it has computed those maxes, we actually need another loop to assign the colors. But we have a problem because the names that we have inside of the results from the API, they're the full names of the states, whereas our map uses the abbreviations like this. So what I'm going to do is over here in the map service, I'm going to declare this array for each of the states letting us know the name and abbreviation of that state so that we can make a mapping between the full name and the abbreviation. So I'll save that and then go back over here to the home page where we can compute the colors for each of the states. So I'm going to call find on those states where the name of the state is the same as the stat province. So the stat province needs to match the name of the state. And then once we have that, we can set the colors sub state dot abbreviation to be equal to RGB, and then here's where we can do red. So it's red, green, blue. So 255 for red, 0 for green, 0 for blue, and then actually let's do RGBA so that we can have an alpha value for this. And let's make this as a variable. Let alpha equals, and for now let's just use the confirmed value. So that would be stat.confirmed divided by the this.max confirmed, and we need to times that by 255 because that's the scale on which RGB works. So 255, and then we put the alpha right here. And with any luck, that should actually work. Let's see if it does. Okay, it looks like it's working a little bit. Let's see what error we have right here. Cannot read property abbreviation of undefined. Oh, that's right. So our map doesn't actually include like a lot of the like minoring states or whatever they're called. Whatever those things are called. I don't really know that much about world geography and so forth, but those are not in the list. And so what I'm going to do is say if not state, just return so that we can not have that error and we can continue on with the rest of the states. So let's see if we can overcome that error. There we go. Hey, that's looking real nice. Although it doesn't strike me as super accurate because like Texas is not the worst off state. New York is. So let's do a little bit of debugging. I'm going to remove some of these other console logs like this one. We'll keep that one. Let's console log some information about what value is being computed for each alpha. So let's go and see what that is. Looks like New York is 1, which is correct. It should have an alpha value multiplied by 1. Let's go and play around with these alpha values. So a value of 0 sets it as white, okay, and a value of 1 sets it as, oh, perfectly red. So I don't think that it's on a scale of 255 like I was saying. I think that's only the R, the G, and the B. I guess the alpha is on a scale of 0 to 1. So it looks like we don't need to times it by 255. Let's take that out and see what that looks like. Okay, so this is looking a lot better. I haven't seen a map like this before, which made it so clear like where the virus actually is the worst. So this is very interesting. I also want to be able to select like maybe to see the death count and things like that on a similar scale. So let's add that and maybe like some way of switching between them. So taking a look at the Ionic documentation, I found this select component we can use. I'll just copy this example and customize it to suit our application. Gonna go up here, add it to probably this container right here. We'll just call it the metric. And I actually want to see what this looks like just to make sure we're on the right page. Metric, brown. Okay, so that seems fine. We can stick with that. I'm going to use ng model with this so we're notified of changes. So ng model change, we'll call a function called metric changed, pass in the event data. Going to bind to a variable called metric, which I'll make in a second. And we want some different values for these. The ones we want are confirmed, recovered, and deaths. And let's go and make that metric and metric changed in the TypeScript. So metric, set that equal to confirmed initially. And we need a function down here, metric changed. And on metric changed, I'm going to console log the metric value just to make sure that we're getting the right data at that point. Okay, so we select this, change it to recovered, and it logs out confirmed. So it looks like the value hasn't updated yet. That's why I passed in the event data. So let's console log metric, which should be passed in. Hopefully that'll be the most up to date. Confirmed to recovered, logs recovered. All right, so now we're in business, but we need this function to be able to actually change what's showing on the page. So I'm going to store these stats inside of a variable on the page. So stats, it's going to be a big array. So as soon as we get the stats, we're going to set this.stats to be equal to results.data.covid19 stats. And then instead of doing this, we can just say this.stats.forEach and this.stats.forEach once again. Now we only need to compute this max stuff once. The thing that needs to happen more than once is this changing of the colors. So let's make a function here called compute colors. So that will do this stuff, and we're going to call that right here in place of where that other code was. And we're also going to call it here as soon as the metric changes. Okay, and at this point we need to check to see if the metric is equal to confirmed, because that's when we want to do this stuff. So if it's confirmed, we will compute the confirmed and set the colors for that. And we need to do something very similar for the other two cases. So this will be an else, because only one of these will be true. So it's either confirmed, or it's recovered, or it is deaths. All right, now for recovered, we can use green for the color. So I'm going to use 0 for red and 255 for green. And then for deaths, I think I want to use like purple or something. So purple is red and blue. So I'll just set those both to 255. See what kind of color that gives. I'm guessing that's not going to be right, but we'll start with that. So we have confirmed. Now let's change it to recovered. And that actually didn't do anything. Let's see what I'm doing wrong here. I think that's because we didn't set this dot metric here. So this dot metric equals metric. That's what it is. Because we're using this dot metric to check which of these colors we're going to be computing. So let's change it to recovered now. And it looks like they're all blank right now. So let's go and log for recovered. Let's kind of do a similar log, but instead of confirmed, it's going to be recovered. Okay, let's save that, check it out. Confirmed to recovered. Okay, it looks like most states just have 0. Am I using the right value here? Stat.recovered. Let's go and check the data. So I'm wondering where all the recovered cases are coming from. I'm not really sure. Let's try testing out the deaths and see if that shows things. Okay. Wow, looks like Washington has a lot, like in comparison. I guess just not that many people have recovered yet, because here it's logging us the number of people that have recovered, and that's 0, so that makes sense why it's all blank for recovered. So hopefully over time that will improve. That was just surprising to see that. As you can see from the data set, it has a, like when this was last updated, so last checked, and it has that on an individual level as well, last update. So this is very recent, and I would like to display the last checked globally up here at the top as well. And while we're at it, let's change the title, which I haven't changed yet. So this is going to be Coronavirus USA, and I'd like this metric as well as the last updated to be a part of the title if possible. So let's clean this up a little bit. Remove this, there's kind of like a duplicate header in here. Let's remove that, and let's add this select thing to the title or the toolbar right below it. Hopefully that will work. Looks like it kind of squishes it a little bit, so let's put it inside of its own ion toolbar. Let's see if that will give it some more space. All right, that's looking better. It has that duplicate line right there, not a huge deal, but let's also add the last updated right here. Let's see if we can get that. It should be inside of the object.data.last_checked. So let's go and grab that. We'll make a variable for it, last updated. Set it equal to null initially. Then we can simply set that right here. Maybe make it a new date, pass in that last checked value. So now we can display the last updated like this, pass it through the date pipe. See if that works. There we go, March 22nd, 2020. If you click on any of these, I want it to tell you the specific data for that state, like when that was updated, its death count, its confirmed count, and so forth. So let's go and add that. I was thinking we're going to use the ionic alert for that. It looks something like this. We're not going to have a yes and no button, but it'll just have an OK button. So let's copy their present alert function and go and add that to our code. We'll add it down here, present alert for a particular stat. And so we need an alert controller. I like to call it alert CTRL. We'll inject that up here. All right, so we have that now, and the header can be stat.province, which is the name of the state. The subheader can be when it was last updated, which is stat.lastUpdate, and then we'll call .toLocalDateString. We'll see how that looks. And then the message can be the information about like the confirmed, the deaths, and so forth. So hopefully new line characters will work in this. I'm not really sure if they will, but let's try it out. Confirmed, and then the same thing for recovered and deaths. And then let's figure out how we can use this inside of the app. I'm gonna open the map, and it has an output called onMapClick. So basically we gotta listen to this onMapClick event. So go over here to the home page, register with the onMapClick event, and then call a function called onMapClick with the event data. So basically we call present alert with the stat that matches the abbreviation. So we'll save that and we'll see if we can get an alert. Alright, I'm going to click on New York, and we got an error. What's the error? Cannot read province of undefined. I think I misspelled province first of all, so province. And I actually messed up on this part too. This is not the name, this is the state. So it would be state.name. So that's better. Let's try that. Okay, click on New York. Another error, cannot read property name of undefined. And that was on line 95. So it looks like the state was not found. So let's double check this. We're going to find the state where the state's abbreviation is equal to abbreviation. Let's just console log the abbreviation, just to make sure that we're even past that information. I think I forgot to pass that parameter. No, it looks like it's just stored in a sub-object, so it's abbreviation dot state abbreviation, or since that has a dash in it, it looks like I'm going to have to use this syntax. Let's try that. Click on New York. Okay, New York. Last updated at that point, confirmed this many, recovered that many, deaths that many. So it looks like the new lines do not work in there. Let's try maybe a BR to see if a BR will format as a new line. I have no idea if it will. If not, we can just use semicolons or something. Hey, looks like it did. So the BRs is how you get line breaks. That's HTML syntax for a line break. And I also wanted to prefix this date with like last updated or something like that. So here we'll say last updated and then pass in that date string, and that should look better. Last updated 3/21/2020. So that's looking really good. Let's try out a couple more states, and let's see how this is looking on a mobile view. Not too bad, but it would be nice if we could pinch and zoom around on this. So I found this pinch zoom for Angular npm package. Maybe this will do it. Let's try that. Let's install it like that, and then add it to the imports for the homepage. Add it right there. Add it to the imports as well. And to use it, we simply place it outside whatever we would like to pinch zoom. So hopefully this will work. That would be super nice if it did. Okay, looks like we have a little black box now, so maybe this needs some styling on it. I'm gonna try setting the US map to have a width and height in pixel values so that it knows what width and height the map are supposed to be. Because right now it's saying that it's 100% of the parent, but the parent is kind of looking at the US map to see how big it is in the first place. So I'm guessing this will fix it. Let's just set it to 512 pixels wide, and then the height, I don't know, 512 as well. Let's see what that does. So there we go, the map is now showing up. That's really nice. But now let's set this in terms of the view width. So it'll be calc and then probably like 100 view width minus some pixel value. I'm not really sure what that is yet. We'll guess and check that in a second. And then same thing for the height, but it's probably going to be a bit more, 64 pixels or something. Let's guess and check that. So the US map, we're looking for this scroll bar to go away. So change this pixel value to be 112px, that's the sweet spot, 112px. And the width looked more or less right. I'm going to change it to like 32 to just give it a little bit more space. And there we go. So now we can zoom in and zoom out. And I guess we need to change the background color for the US map. So there is a property called background color on the pinch zoom. So let's set that background color is equal to FFF, that should be white. And there it is. So let's try building this for iOS. And here we are. It's loaded up on my phone, and looks like pinch zooming works on here as well, which is very exciting. And yeah, I can still click on individual states. Wisconsin, 282. Missouri, 74. And then I'm from Utah. Let's see how we're doing. 136. That's up quite a bit from yesterday. It was only at 80. So our map is working. I'm very happy with it. It's doing everything I wanted it to do. Let's check out the deaths. Recovered. Not a lot of people have recovered yet, apparently, which is not good. But we will get through this together, you guys. Remember to wash your hands. Stay away from people in general to stop and slow the spread. So I will leave a link to this below. It's going to be open source. You can use the code for whatever you want. I just wanted to make a video demonstrating how to make an app about the coronavirus, just basically for marketing, to show my services that I know how to make apps, and that I can help you learn how to do that if you'd like to. And also, of course, to spread awareness about this cause. We're all in this together. We all have a part to play in this, as the president likes to say. So thanks for watching, guys. Again, I'll leave a link down to this below. Remember to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like videos like this. Stay safe, and remember to try and limit the spread in your area as much as possible, even if you're not from the United States. And by the way, if you're wondering why I only did the United States in this video, it's because it made it a lot simpler to implement in this brief YouTube video. And so I'm going to publish this at coronavirus-us.jamesonsaunders.com. There will be a link below the video to where you can use the app if you just want to see, like, in your area, if you're living in the United States, what the stats are for that particular day. So I'll leave that down below so you can check out the app. And that concludes the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.